Good afternoon. My name is Bernita Platt. I am a business consultant with the Myrtle Beach Area Small Business Development Center. Thank you all for joining us today for the second installment in our government contract series. We are today talking about 8A business development, and we've got Miss Angela Brewer, who is a business opportunity specialist with the SBA, the South Carolina SBA. And you're in great hands today. Ms. Brewer is going to take you through the program, explain the requirements, and how you can participate. First, let me tell you a little bit about the South Carolina Small Business Development Centers. We are an SBA resource partner, which means that we work directly with the SBA in local areas. Our office is located at Coastal Carolina University, and at the SBDC, we provide no-cost confidential consulting. We also offer a number of educational programs like today, and we also provide our clients who have new and existing businesses with access to resources. If we can do anything for you, if you would like to request a consultation with the SBDC, please follow the link at the bottom of this slide and visit our website, www.scsbdc.com, and we're happy to help. With that, Ms. Brewer, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Bernita and Small Business Development Center, for hosting this event for me today. As she stated, my name is Angela Brewer. I am a business opportunity specialist with the South Carolina District Office. My main or primary focus is to work with small business that's getting into federal contract. So I'm trying to get my slides together. Escape. I'm coming. Share. There we go. You all see the slide presentation?
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Oh, I forgot to hit share. Here.
There we go.
Okay. Like I stated, my primary focus or my primary goal is to work with small business that's trying to get certified to go into federal contract. Last week, if you were present, we talked about getting registered in SAM. In order to work with the federal government, you must be registered in SAM in order to do that. You don't have to be part of the preferential programs, but we have 4 preferential programs that I'm going to go over. Today, we're going to start with the 8A program. Over the next 2 weeks, we'll be discussing the other preferential programs we have, but today we're going to talk about the 8A program and how to get in the steps to go about taking to get certified to be an 8A program. As I stated, SBA has 4 preferential programs, and the federal government has mandated 23% of all monies that are spent with the federal government must go to small businesses, and they broke that 23% down. They have woman-owned small business, which we will discuss next week. 5% of all money that's spent throughout the federal government must go to woman-owned small business. Then we have small disadvantaged business program, or the 8A program. That's another 5%. Then we have the HUBZone and the Service Disabled Veteran, which both of those are 3% each. And then you wonder what happened to the other 7%, because this only adds up to 16%. Like I stated, if you are in the SAM system, you are registered in SAM, not inactive, you are eligible for a small business set aside. And a set aside is when the federal government mandated they couldn't find anyone that fall into these 4 preferential programs. So they just set it aside for small business. And last week we talked about NAICS code, North American Industry Classification codes. And those codes determine whether your business is small or not. It's either monetary value or the number of employees that you have in your company if you are a manufacturing company. So that's determined if your business is small or not. The 8A program is a business development program. It gives you access to develop your business support through our SBA, through the district offices. We currently have 33 8A firms in our portfolio, which means it's 3 of us, myself, Stephanie, and Carl. Each of us manage 11 firms each. So that means 11 firms that has my undivided attention that can reach out to me if they need assistance, they need with their capability statements, or reaching out to a contracting officer to set up a capability brief. If they have issues going on with a contract and they need a mediator, so I can step in or sit in with them to better explain to them when they talk to a contracting officer what's going on with their why they didn't get the contract and what's going on with their contract. We also do annual reviews. So I review your reports every year, like the reports that it takes to get into the program. I review those reports. Our team review those reports. If you're assigned to me, I'll review your reports and I can make recommendations. I do an annual visit after I do my annual review. I do an annual visit and I go over your annual review, let you know what I found, what I think you need to improve on, whether it be financial or, you have a joint venture or the key personnel, you need to add key personnel to your portfolio, whatever the thing may be. But once I look at your annual review and your business plan, because I review your business plan annually, I let you know, or we discuss what I think that you should do or could happen to make your business better. That's how we do the business development. I know one time I was on a training, somebody was asking, well, would this a get rich? No, the 8A program is not for you to get rich, but it's a business development program. It only lasts 9 years. It builds capacity and growth through contracts. How that works, we have, like I said, 8A is a 9-year program. The first 4 years of the program is a development program. That means we have what is called an 8A set aside. If you're in the 8A program, you can go to a contracting officer, and if there's an offer that is not set aside for any of the preferential programs or a small business, you can ask that contractor to give it to you. You all negotiate the terms and no one sees that contract up to $4.5 million. So that's how you build capacity through contracting. And a 9-year program, you can only get in the program once. So we always encourage you before you get in the program to go out and do some small contracts, do some subcontracts, work with locals or state government before you come to the federal arena, because jumping straight from starting a business, being in business, because you have to be in business 2 years, to jumping into a federal contract is hard and it requires a lot of effort. We've had some people who've done it who had to actually back out of the 8A program. And that's the thing, it's a one-time thing. If you do 2 or 3 years and figure out, okay, I need to learn more before I do this, if you get out of the 8A program, you cannot get back in. It's only a one-time shot. So make sure you are prepared when you get into the 8A program. In order to be in the 8A program, what determines if 8A program is appropriate for you, are you socially and economic disadvantaged? That means, are you, in order to be considered for the program, you have to be African American, Native American, Asia Pacific, and it's a few more others that they automatically consider. But if you can show, if you do not fall into those categories, that is an automatic consideration. If you can show a preponderance of evidence for why you were not, that you were denied or couldn't get in the program, that you were denied making progress in, say for instance, you worked in Wall Street. And for some reason, whatever the reason, because I know we had one young lady who was considered legally blind by her doctor or by the state. So she could not progress. She could not get promoted in her field. So she started her own business. She was a Caucasian female. So they considered her, they let her in because of that disability. Currently, I have a Caucasian male who's in the military, and whatever his disability is in the military, he got busted down. He was actually medically discharged from the military because of his disability. So now he's in the program. So that's showing a preponderance of evidence that for some reason that you cannot make it. So not saying that everyone will get denied, but in order to be automatically considered, you have to fall into a certain category. Do you have diminished? Can you compete not just with large businesses? Because it's kind of hard for a small business to compete with a large business like Boeing. If you do something with airplanes, could you compete with Boeing? We don't expect, well, the federal government does not expect you to compete with Boeing because Boeing is considered a large business. Do you have the net worth requirement? It does not require you to have a certain dollar value. Oh, when I said socially and economically, I forgot the economic part. You have to have, your income must be $350,000 or less, or 6 million. That includes all of your equipment. Your net worth. Do you have a net worth or working aim when you in the program? Because when you're doing federal contract work, you don't get paid every 2 weeks. You have to have capital or working capital, access capital, in order to keep going, because you have to bill or do a invoice. They have to come out and inspect what you said that you did, not the complete project. I always talk about construction. I don't know why, because I don't know much about construction. But say for instance, construction, you have 2 weeks to lay the foundation, do the plumbing work, because I think plumbing go under the foundation. Lay the foundation, get the plumbing, and start the electrical. So after those 2 weeks that you got all that accomplished, you will invoice the federal government. And the federal government will then come out and inspect to make sure everything is correct. The project manager or program manager will come out and inspect to make sure everything is what you say it is. And then they will submit pay. So it might take up to 30 days for you to get paid. So do you have the capital, the net worth, or access to capital in order to continue to paying your workers and your subcontractors? Marketability. Do you have the marketing and capability to market to the federal government? When I say market, I don't mean send out a flyer. I mean, go sit down with a federal agency and pitch your business. They would give you 30 minutes to an hour to actually do a capability brief. Can you market to the federal government? Is the federal government buying what you're selling? Do you know your NAICS code? When you're in the 8A program, you have to have at least one primary NAICS. And the federal government, the team and headquarters, SBA headquarters, they look at your taxes and they see, because you're going to do a Schedule C. You have to have 2 years of taxes. That's a requirement. If you don't have 2 years of taxes in your business, they look at your personal taxes and look at what you did. So if you were a manager of a business or a company or whatever, say for instance, construction again, if you was a project manager for a few years of a construction company and decide to branch out and do your own, they take that in consideration. That's the only time they would do a waiver. You cannot be HR and then decide you want to do a construction company or you want to be a chef, because that don't mesh together. So you have to have the background in the business that you're going to open. Any questions so far?
I don't see any in the chat box, Angela. And for all of our participants, you are welcome to either unmute and ask your questions if you have them, or put them in the chat box.
Thank you. When should you apply? Are you ready for the 8A program? Like I stated, it's a one-time program. I'm not saying you have to have $1 million in the bank, but you must have the capacity. They're going to look at, let me ask you a question. Someone just hop on and tell me what you think. If you have a project to do, say, let's go construction, you have maybe 50 to 100 acres of land and you're getting ready to build subdivision or build a business or a building. And I come up to you, which you know, I have no need. I have nails. I can't even nail a nail in a piece of wood, plank or whatever you call it, 2x4. And I know I don't know how to do plumbing, but I come to you with my little capability statement and say, I'm ready to do this job. Would you hire me? Anyone? Everybody shy. Is anybody on besides the three of us?
Yeah, we have a few people on. And you can raise your hand and we can unmute you, or we have somebody in the chat box. They said no, they want to hire you.
Okay, let's do this interactive. You wouldn't hire me the same way the federal government is not going to hire you to do $1 million contract without experience to some level of capacity. You don't have to have $1 million job, but I mean, have done jobs up to $1 million, but you need to show that you are able to do something to the capacity. You might not have done an entire subdivision, but you have done something that will be equivalent. Maybe you on 4 or 5 houses, you can flip 20 houses and since your business has been into existence. Then they ask, do you have sufficient cash flow? I just went over, the federal government is not going to pay you up front. You have to work and then invoice for the job. Do you have the capacity to demonstrate? I just talked about past performances. They look at past performances. And if you say, because we've had it's been public news, so I'm not talking about anyone who has given out private information I'm not supposed to have. A few years ago, when I first came to SBA, it was a landscaping company that got a construction company because someone said they were going to do the construction part. Only thing they needed to do was the landscaping part. And this company went for it. They got this $1 million contract with Forest Service. And when it came time to perform or do the construction part, it couldn't get done. But guess who got held? They actually got put out the 8A program. They can't do federal contract work anymore. They got held responsible because when you do a joint venture, or you go in and get a contract and you thinking the subcontractor is going to do what they say they want to do, the federal government don't hold that subcontractor. They don't even talk to the subcontractor. If a subcontractor try to go to the federal agency, go to the contracting officer, they're going to tell them to go to their prime contractor. So do you have the capabilities? Do not go. And what I'm trying to say is, don't go out there as a cook trying to do landscaping or trying to do construction. Do you have the capability to perform? Do you have the past performance? Believe me, in SAM, it asks for past performance. DSBS, Dynamic Small Business, it asks for past performances. And they check those out, especially when they come to the hundreds of thousands and $1 million contract. They're going to call about your background. And once you get in the federal contracting world, we have a system called CPARs. That's where the report cards are. So if you get out there and you get a job and you're not performing, they're going to tell it in your past performances. And so contracting officers look at that before they offer you the job. So if you say that you've done federal contract work before, they're going to look into that first before they offer you a job. So make sure when you go out there and perform or get a contract, you perform as promised. Don't half do a job. Don't walk away from the job. If you need more time or you need to add something to the contract, make sure you ask and get approved before you do it.
Angela, we've got a question in the chat box.
Okay.
This gentleman said that he is a service disabled veteran. So he's got SDVOSB certification. He's been certified in SAM for 2 years, and he wants to know how long the process is to obtain the 8A certification and whether or not there's a template for him to follow to make sure he's done everything he needs to do. Yes,
there is a template. I can't give you an exact date because we don't certify here at the district office level. They have a team that is I think it's called the King of Prussia. They're the one that reviews the application, but they always ask you to allow up to 90 days for review. So because it's not a whole 200-300 people that does this, is a team of, I think, 10 or 15 that review every 8A application that comes through the program. But yeah, there's a template. If I have time before it's over, I will take you to certify, because there's a step-by-step documentation that you need that I always encourage our applicants before you apply for the program to go in there and get all the documents that's needed, because when you going through certify, it's 5 parts in certify: control, business development, and 2 other, I can't think of 2 of them, and then it asks about your personal. So as you're going through each section, it asks you questions, you have to upload documents. That's why I always encourage you to go ahead and get your documents together. So when you're going through each portion, like you have to upload business plan, you have to upload your taxes, you have to upload your capability statement, your articles of incorporation. If you are married or you have a partner, you have to upload their information too. So like I stated, once we finish this, I will go into the site if we have time and look at that. Derek, you have a question? Derek Higdon. I see you unmuted in your hand. Okay, you put your hand down. Next, as I stated, in order to be eligible, there are 3 things that you must, 3 steps that you must satisfy in order to be eligible for the 8A program. Not in the program, but be considered. You have to be African American, Black American, Asian Pacific, Hispanic, Native American, and subcontinental Asian American. Those are the ones that's automatically considered. But like I stated, if you can show a preponderance, like when you were discriminated from getting promoted because of your race, ethnicity, or your gender, chronic substantial, you can chronologize, or you can itemize and have substantial information, negative impact on your business. So if your business for some reason have a negative impact, maybe someone blackballed you, or someone put some out on social media and you cannot get business because of that, they will take those things into consideration. So that's the social part. You have to be economically disadvantaged. Your personal net worth has to be $750,000, but over your 3-year average has to be less than $350,000, and everything that you own, your market value for your business, has to be less than $6 million. So if you fall into those categories, you are automatically considered, and you have to have been in business for 2 years. I talked about the waiver a little bit. If you was a program manager, is currently a program manager for a firm or a business, and you want to get into the 8A program, if you only been in business for a year, 6 months, or something like that, these are the reasons why you can get a waiver and get into the 8A program if you don't have the 2 years experience, because they require you to have 2 years of taxes. So since you don't have 2 years of a Schedule C or 1120S, your business taxes, they would take into consideration your personal taxes, but they want to look at your background, what you did. That's why they ask for a business resume, what you have done. In order to be in an 8A program, you must be small. That's where your NAICS code come in. You have to fall into, you have to be small. You have to have at least 51% owned in that company. So whoever is applying for the 8A program or want to get in the 8A program, it can be a husband or wife or brother or sister, but whoever is going to be in control have to be 51% disadvantaged. So if you are African-American or Caucasian person that own the business, the African-American has to have 51% ownership into that company in order to be considered. So that 1% matters. You must control and manage. Like I stated previously, we do a annual visit. And I've gone to visits where the wife is supposed to be control of the company, or she the 51% owned in the company. And I ask questions, but the husband has all the answers. No, sir. When I come out and do, right now we're doing virtual visits, but normally I do in-person visits. Because of the pandemic, we're not. When I come out and do a visit, I expect the person who's 51% owning that company to answer the questions that I have, not the husband or the brother or whoever. Whoever owns 51% of that company is the one that I'm holding feet to the fire because of the question that I have. Business requirement, character, ineligibility to criteria. So we had a couple people, one in particular I can think about, who's now in the 8A program. They ask you a question, they do a 7-year background check. They go back 7 years. They're going to check your background back 7 years. They're going to do a federal background check. I'm not going to say they're going to disqualify you because you have things in your background. But one thing I will tell you, if you do not disclose those things that's in your background, you are subject to disqualification. So that's what character come into play at. And we have a firm, well, now they're in the program. He had a background. It was somewhat bad, but he didn't disclose their background. So when they had to go out, because when they go out and have to find out, or they find out that you have a background, like I said, it's okay depending on what it is. But if you don't disclose it, that's an automatic disqualification. So make sure they go back 7 years. So make sure if you have a background, you gotten arrested, you had to pay restitution, or you on probation. Like I said, they take that into consideration, but you have to disclose, because if they have to go back, they're going to look further back than 7 years. So just disclose that you have a record. Any questions so far? In order to get in the 8A program, you have to have a Duns and Bradstreet. So if you're on this webinar, that means you already have a Duns and Bradstreet. Possibly you are already registered in SAM. We went over SAM last week, and we went over NAICS code last week. You have to have one NAICS code. That's the primary NAICS code that you're making the majority of your money in. So whatever that your taxes say that you're making money in, that's your primary NAICS code. And currently right now, because I know I work with the Richland County, because I'm here in Columbia, they have a grant program going on, and you have to be registered in SAM, you have to have a DUNS number, you have to have a NAICS code. A lot of these grants that have been given out during the pandemic, they all require you to have that. So go, if you haven't registered in SAM and you don't have a DUNS number, please do it now. So, you know, you can still be eligible, because a lot of people ask me, how do I get a business? Because I know I do a class on, it's called the Business Smart. I go over the 10 steps to starting a business, getting your business credit. A lot of people ask me how you do business credit, how you get business credit. That's getting a DUNS number. A DUNS is separate from your social. And a DUNS is a number, if you go by your social, they're gonna look into your personal background. But if you go by your DUNS, if you put your DUNS on your paperwork for your business, they only look at your business. Now, when you go to a bank and apply for a bank loan, they're gonna wanna see both. But you want to keep your business and your personal separate. So make sure you create a DUNS number. It's free. Only thing that's going to happen when you do the DUNS, someone will call you as soon as you put your email and your phone number in. They will call or email you and tell you they've been assigned as your caseworker. You don't have to work with them, but you can. If you work with them, that means you're still going to be doing the paperwork yourself, because you got to sit there with them and fill out all the information. But if you do it yourself, I think DUNS, it takes about 24 hours for DUNS to get back with you. SAM, it takes 7 to 10 business days, because I'm working with a young lady. She her SAM profile got denied because she put one number in her tax ID number wrong. The federal government, all these federal systems talk to each other. So when she put her SAM in, SAM notified DUNS to make sure everything that was in the system is exactly the same. And then they notify the IRS to make sure that your tax, you have to have a EIN number when you're doing the 8A program or resident SAM. You must have an EIN number. Don't have that, go to irs.gov. It's free of charge also. After you get your get registered, get SAM and NAICS code and DUNS done, you go into certified.sba.gov. This is where you go to apply for the 8A program. This is the certified website. You have to create a login and password. And when you're going through SAM, they ask you to create a MPIN. I don't know if any one of you all have ever done your taxes through TurboTax or something like that. You have to digitally sign. That's the same thing as an MPIN, because when you get to the end of SAM, they're going to ask you to input your MPIN to sign and submit your application. The same thing happens with Certified. When you go into Certified and ask you to create a login and password, you're going to need that MPIN, because Certified works off of SAM. So make sure you write that number down. I think it's 4 to 6 or 5 to 7 character. I think it's 4 to 7 character that you create. So make sure you keep that number handy, because you're going to need that when you log into Certified. During the 8A program, your 9 years during the 8A program, if you get approved for the 8A program, we do a orientation. And like I said, it's 3 of us, and then we have my deputy director, Michael Court, who used to be a BOS, but now he's gotten promoted, so he's the deputy, but he still do a lot of the contracting side. We would do an orientation. We bring you in, we talk about the 8A program, tell you what is required, what you're responsible for. We have resources that are available. We have the 7J program, one-on-one program we don't do it ourselves. We bring contractors in, and they talk about business development, talk about writing capability statements. And I know the SBDC, if you don't have a capability statement already, they can assist you with writing a capability statement, because a capability statement is like a 1-page resume of your business. And you should have a capability statement, because when you're out there selling yourself to the federal government, whether you as an 8A program or just a small business, they want to see something in hand, your business card and your capability statement. So when you do a sit down, 30-minute hour sit down, and you're going over your business proposal, they're looking at your capability statement or your capability brief. Invitation to an 8A business development event. There are several programs going on. We normally, if we weren't in the pandemic, we do what is called the Salute to Small Business. And during the salute, you have over 50 agencies, federal, local, state, and private sector, you will get the opportunity, or you can get the opportunity to sit down with those businesses for 10 minutes. Not saying you're going to get a contract, but you get the opportunity to sit down with 10 minutes for the chance for them to give you a 30-minute to an hour-long capability brief. I know Joint Base Charleston is doing capability brief once a month. So if you want to get, we have a listing of all our local, federal contracting officer or procurement officer that you can reach out to, those who are interested. If you have to be in SAM, because they're going to look in SAM first before they give you an appointment. If you're doing the federal side, they will give you the opportunity to sit down with them and do a capability brief. And then we have surety bond. Surety bonds are not for everyone, but they are mainly for construction company, landscaping company, anyone who has a does subcontract work for construction. You need surety bond. That's an insurance grant. SBA have a surety bond program where we have vetted and we have insurance agency, because a lot of people, it's hard for them, depending on what your credit or what your capabilities are, it's hard for them to get a contract. And if you are a construction company and you need, when you get a contract as a construction company, they only allow you 10 days after you sign that contract in order to get bonds. If you can't get those bonds in 10 days, they will cancel that contract. Any questions? Benita, I think I'm gonna get you out of here.
I don't see any, Angela.
Okay. As stated, the 8A program is a 9-year program. The first 4 years is the business development program, and the last 5 years is a transition program. SBA, we want to transition you out of the program. Right now, the year 1 through 4, we have what is called set aside, where they can set aside, or you can get sole source contracts up to $4.5 million from year 1 to year 4. But starting year 5, like you do your baby when he's going about 9, 10 months old, maybe 12, you start to wean them off of the bottom. We do the same thing with the 8A program. We start year 5, you have to do 15%, at least 15% of the work that you get year is 55, because we don't want you to get to year 9 and you still getting sole source contracts, because once you get out of the program, that if you gotta, we all, you want to do an IDIQ, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. That means you can get a 3 to 4 year contract. That's what your main goal is, to get a 3 to 4 year contract. But at the end of that 3 to 4 year contract, if that's all you getting is sole source contracts, that means your doors are going to close. What you're going to do once that contract ends? So we always try to encourage and maintain and push our contractors to get non-8A contracts. That's why we do annual reviews, because during those annual reviews, if I see that you have not made your 15% goal or your 25% goal, I give you 90 days. You have 90 days to show me that you're going after contracts. If you're not going after non-8A contracts, I write that up. So if a sole source come in across my desk for $4.5 million and you have not shown me that you are making a good faith effort to go after regular contracts, I deny that contract. I let the contracting officer know that you're not eligible, and they're not going to give you that contract. All that hard work that you put into going out and marketing yourself to that contracting officer, I tell them that you are not eligible, and I don't sign off on it. And my supervisor is going to back me. So if you're in the 8A program, we encourage you, because we don't want you to get, I'm not trying to discourage you. I'm not trying to tell you not to get sole source contract. I don't want the end of year 9, after your contract has ended, for you to be your business to go under, because we have had a business that goes under after their 9 years because they relied solely on the whole 9 years on getting sole source contracts. Know the rules of the 8A program. We have FAR Part 13 for small business eligibility and FAR 19.3 about 8A contracts. We encourage you to get very familiar with those chapters, those books in FAR. I hate the FAR. I'm just gonna be honest with you. The FAR is a huge book, but FAR chapter 13 CFR 124 talks about the eligibility of the 8A program. So get to know that, because you're gonna need that when you're dealing with contracting officer. You have to be a US citizen, and you have to be small. You have to be disadvantaged, which we talked about, being a minority. You have to have at least 51% own, control, and management of that company. You have to have the potential for success. You have to be in good character. You have to have contract information, and you must be a small business. Those are all the rules and criteria for the 8A program. And you can find all that in FAR Part 19.8, I'm sorry.
And
Get in the
question in the chat box.
Okay.
Mr. Higdon would like to know the best resource to get assistance with his 8A certification application. I can certainly answer part of that, and you're welcome to answer on your end.
Okay. Go ahead. You said you can answer part?
Yes, ma'am. So the South Carolina Small Business Development Center network, we have procurement specialists in our network that we could certainly connect you with, Mr. Higdon, and they could assist you further with better understanding the program, as well as the application process and with any documentation that you would need to compile. So you're welcome to continue using your local SBDC. And if you've not worked with a procurement specialist, we can happily connect you with one.
That's correct. At the beginning of this presentation, there was a slide that had SBDC, and I hope Benita or Sarah will put it in the chat. If you sign up, it asks you during the sign up phase of the SBDC website, it asks you what type of assistance you need. Once you do that and you get the assistance, you are welcome to call me on the next slide. I'm going to have my contact information. Once you get your application together, before you hit the submit button, if you don't use the SBDC, if you want to reach out to me to set up an appointment, and we go through each one, like I say, it's 5 different areas that they cover: control, business development, ownership, one more, and then it has your personal. If you want to go over those, make sure you have all the documents. You can schedule an appointment with me, and I can go over those documents with you before you hit the submit button. I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to get approved, but I can make sure you have all the correct documents, because we don't approve it at our level. It goes to headquarters for the approval. But I can sit down with you and go over the documents with you, go over each area, make sure you fill out the different areas correctly. Getting the most out of the 8A program. Look for set-asides. I'm going to take you to, well, we have 2 websites. We have Bid Speed, and we have what used to be FBO, Federal Business Opportunity, is now on SAM. SAM is trying to become a one-stop shop, is now on SAM. And you can look at different opportunities. You're looking for a sources SALT or 8A set-aside if you're in the 8A program, or small business set-aside. Or to get the most out of the 8A program, you're looking for 8A set-aside. And when you see a sources SALT, the federal government or the contracting officers doing a market research. They're going to see who's trying to express interest in that contract. If only 8A firms express interest, they're going to set it aside. If it's over $4.5 million, it has to be competitive. But if it's under 4.5 and at least 2 8A firms go after that contract, express interest in that solicitation, they can set aside, or they can reach out to you and do a sole source. Once you do a capability brief and they look into your background, make sure everything is that you're in SAM, that you have the capacity, that you are registered, that you have the past performances, you can do a sole source. Opportunity to build capacity and grow by establishing a joint venture. You can do a joint venture. Only time the SBA district office get involved is when our 8A program, when 8A we have a joint venture, and joint ventures are typically formed around an actual contract. The last one I did was 2 years ago, 2019, I think it was 19, right before the pandemic. Shaw had a $40 million contract, a MAC contract, $30 million contract. It was a MAC contract, multiple award contracts, certification contracts, something like that. And a joint venture is needed because when you're doing a contract of that magnitude, you're going to need bonding, because it consists of construction. You're going to need bonding for that. And unless you are a large firm or you are able to get a $30 million bonding, a lot of firms do a team and a joint venture in order to do that. We no longer monitor the mentor protege program, but we still have it. It's called the SBA mentor protege program. It used to come through our office. Now all the application go through headquarters, and they approve the mentor protege program. We just get a copy that you are in the system. So that's a mentor protege is when a large business, which means according to your NAICS code, your last 3 years or your last 5-year income has surpassed. So for construction 236220, that's in commercial and industrial build, the size standard for that is $39.5 million over 3 years. That means for 3 years, your business could not exceed $39.5 million. That means that large business for the last 3 years has exceeded $39.5 million. We have, I think it's, what's the name of the company here? I see it every day going to work. I can't think of it now. They just build they just build the actual apartment complex on Shop Road. I can't think of the name of it, but they're considered large. So when you look at, when you are gross, and that's why I say you have to look at your NAICS code to depend on what you, a lot of people, because I've talked to people all the time, and I say, I don't know if you're large or small. I'm a large business. How you know you're large? I made $100,000 a year. Well, what do you do? I do this. When I look it up, I'm like, ma'am, sir, your income cannot exceed $16.5 million for 3 years. So you can make $16 million 1 year, $2 the next 2 years. You still consider small because they add your 3 years up and divide by 3. So take that into account when you're looking at where you're small. Access to management and technical assistance. That's where the SBDC come in. SBDC can help you because you need a business plan. SBDC can assist you with writing your business plan. If you need a loan, guaranteed loan, they can assist you because you're going to need a business plan to get a loan, and you can get a loan for working capital. They can assist you with writing your capability statement, business plan, your website. I'm not saying that the Coastal Carolina office does this all by themselves, but there are resources in the SBDC that can assist you with getting your website up and running. They're not going to do you $1 million website, but they can get your website up and running, build your website. They can help you build your domain, because I'm so tired of looking at people with these Gmail accounts. When you have a business, you need to get your business domain so you can become professional. They can help you with your business plan. They can help you get a loan packet once you get your business plan where it needs to be. And this is our contact information for our office. As stated, my name is Angela Brewer. We have Carl Faison and Stephanie Workman. They used to be contracting officers at Shaw Air Force Base back in the early 2000s before they came to SBA. I think Stephanie went to DLA before she came to us last year. And Mike Corp, who is our deputy district director, all three of them worked together on the Air Force side. Fortunately, I was the only one on the Army side. I came from HR. I have a background in HR. So, but I can still answer a lot of contracting questions. But the questions that I can answer, I have 3 capable people on my team who are contracting officers that can get those questions answered for me. So if you have any questions or need any assistance when it comes to the 8A program, getting your application together, we're not going to submit it. We're not going to approve it. We just make sure you have all the documentation that is required before you hit submit. Because once you hit submit, most time they send back a laundry list of things that were not accomplished or they needed submitted. And that's where, you can reach out to our office and we can assist you with that. Any questions? I'm going to share my screen one more time. I'm going to take you to the certified website. And someone asked at the beginning of the presentation, is there some place where I can go in order to get assistance with the with getting my application together? We have on certified, you don't have to log in on this part. You just go to prepare. Once you go to prepare, this screen comes up, and then you're looking at the 8A business development checklist. It's going to take you to another page, but it's going to bring up a checklist of all the items that you need in order to get into the 8A program. Are you all still seeing my screen?
The frequently asked questions.
That's not where I wanted to go. It's a word. Let's do it. Initial document checklist. This is a list of all the documentation that is required. The 1010 is the business plan. You might not have stock purchases, you might not have buy-sell agreement, that's fine. If those documents does not pertain to you, don't try to create something that's not pertaining to you. If you don't have bylaws, you don't have bylaws, I'm sorry, bylaws. If you don't have bylaws, they're gonna ask for your articles of incorporation. If you don't have stock in your company certificates, don't worry about it. Control, if you own a joint venture right now, because you can do a joint venture off your mentor protege, because you don't have to be in an 8A program to get a mentor protege. I don't know why my dog always does this when I get on the call. The joys of working from home. Joint venture or mentor protege, they're going to want a copy of that. You have to be in control of all of that. Anything that's on this list, potential for success, they look at your taxes, they're making sure that you're not behind in your taxes, that you don't owe taxes. They look at all of that, and it has to be current. A lot of people found out, and now they're hurting because they didn't file taxes in 2019. And in order to get the EIDL assistance from SBA, you have to have 2019 taxes. And the IRS is so behind in taxes right now. So make sure you have your well, they asked for last 3-year taxes. It was 2. Then it went up to 3. So you need your 20, 19, and 18 taxes. If you don't have 20, they're looking for your 19, 18, and 17 taxes. If you have any outstanding loans, that includes line of credit, they want to see that. On your taxes, if you do 1120S, it shows that you have ownership in the company, or you can use the articles of incorporation. It shows at the pyramid where you fall in your business. Just go through this document. You all see how I got here. Just get this document. Like I said, all these documents does not a spouse. They ask for your spouse taxes also. So if you file joint, it'd be on one. And that's the end of that documentation. And I said I was going to take you all to do I have still got bid speed up? Yes. This is bid speed. It's a new SBA has a contract with them now. We used to have FBO, but FBO is no longer available. And if you look right here, it say pre-solicitation. Let me see if I can put this is in Fort Carson, Colorado. Excuse me. If you look through here, it'll tell you all about this contract. And what NAICS code is this? 562111. So if you're in waste collection, you can actually put your search right here, how you want to search, apply filters. If you just want to do pre-solicitation, or you can set it up for them to send you actual emails when it has your NAICS code on here. So you all can see my screen. I'm sorry, I'm not even sharing my screen. You all should have said something. I forgot all about that. This is called bid speed. I am getting ready to do a training. I got access to it in March, but because of everything that's going on, I have not really navigated. I don't know if you all have ever been to the new sam.gov. But this is now the new FBO. Are you all still seeing my screen? I got Sam up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is now FBO. It used to be FBO, now it's SAM. You can look for opportunities here. I have not yet learned how, if there is a way to have emails like an FBO, you can set it up to get emails daily or weekly or monthly when opportunities came out on your under your NAICS code. But I put in 236220. But you can narrow it down to set aside. You can select how you want to do if you want to do just 8A sole source. However you want to narrow it down, you can narrow it down here. Then you can look for place of performance. That's what I was looking for. If you narrow down just South Carolina, you only want to find opportunities in South Carolina, that's going to be very limited to the opportunities out there, because some, depending on your NAICS code, there may not be any opportunities for you in South Carolina. I found that out when I worked with a lot of firms who called for assistance. And currently, there are no recent opportunities for South Carolina or here in South Carolina. The last one was in October. So if you narrow it down to just look for opportunities in South Carolina, it's going to limit what you may find. Any questions? I've gone over a lot of information, my contact information. I'm going to send Bernita a copy of these slides, and it will have my contact information on there. So if you have questions after today's presentation and you need to reach out to me, I will be off the rest of this week. But if you need to reach out to me Monday, I will be back on Monday. Please do not hesitate. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Currently, do you have any questions? Anyone, you can unmute yourself. Is anything in the chat that you all have questions about when it comes to the 8A program? Do you need me to show you anything else before we get off our today's presentation? Thank you, Janet. It's been a while since I spoke with you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for doing such a fantastic job.
You're so welcome. No one have any questions? I guess you are ready to go out there and start doing the 8A program, huh? Well, again,
you go right ahead.
No, I was just about to close out.
Well, I'm going to do the same. I'll go ahead and close our part of it out, and then I will let you wrap up the very end. And thank you all first and foremost for participating today and giving us your time. Thank you, Ms. Brewer, for all of your knowledge. We hope to see you all back here next week for the third installment in the series, which is Women-Owned Certification. And then on December 1st, we will conclude and talk about HUBZone veteran and service disabled veteran certifications. So the links are in the chat box. Please register for those events if you're interested. You will receive at the end of today's event a short survey. Please take a few minutes to complete that survey and give us your feedback. And again, we hope to see you next week and December 1st. And Angela, again, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you all for joining us today. I love what I do. As you can see, I love to talk. If you have any further questions, my contact information will be on the presentation that I'm going to send to Bernita. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'm available through either email or by phone. If you need to set up an appointment with me, you can send me an email and ask me for maybe 30 minutes, an hour of my time if you need me to sit down with you once you go through your 8A application and you need further assistance. If you can't get an appointment with the SBDC, which I know you can, if you can't get anyone with the SBDC or you need additional questions answered, or you have questions, please set up an appointment with me and I will gladly help you go through the 8A application. You all have a great rest of your day.